Hello and welcome. Today, we are diving into a business puzzle that completely flips conventional wisdom on its head. It's a way of thinking that really separates the folks who just report on what's already happened from the great managers who actually shape the future. So let's get right into it with a really counterintuitive idea that, some of the world's biggest companies are using every single day to boost their bottom line. Really think about that for a second. The goal is always to sell more, right? More stuff, more customers, more revenue. That's business 101. But what if I told you that sometimes the absolute smartest thing you can do is to sell less? Now, this is not just some business school theory. Just look at Coke and Pepsi. As people started drinking less soda overall, they did something brilliant. They pivoted to these smaller 7.5-ounce mini cans. Now, people bought fewer total ounces of soda, for sure. And this is the key, because the price per ounce was higher, their sales revenue actually held steady. They sold less liquid and made the exact same amount of money. Wild, right? And we see this same exact principle in the digital world too. Remember when Apple moved iTunes from that flat 99-cent price for every song to a tiered model? Well, guess what happened? The total number of downloads actually dropped by 6%, but the revenue, it shot up by 30%. This just goes to show that if you only focus on sales volume, you can be totally blind to what really matters, which is profit. And to see that clearly, we're going to need a new set of tools. Okay, so to solve this puzzle, you have to understand that businesses look at their numbers through two completely different lenses. On one hand, you've got financial accounting. The best way to think of this is as the official public scorecard. It's all backward-looking, it follows super strict rules, and it's really designed for outsiders, like investors or banks. But then there's management accounting. This is the coach's secret playbook. It's for internal eyes only, it's all about looking forward, and its one and only goal is to help managers make better decisions to, win the game. And to actually use that playbook, you first have to learn its language. And the most fundamental concept in the manager's playbook is understanding the two basic types of costs. And it all comes down to this simple distinction: fixed versus variable. Fixed costs are things like the rent for your factory or your executive salaries. They stay the same in total whether you make one widget or a million of them. Variable costs, on the other hand, are tied directly to how much you produce. Think raw materials or the electricity to run the machines. The more you make, the more you spend. Simple enough, right? But getting this distinction wrong can be absolutely fatal. Let's look at a cautionary tale that really shows the danger of high fixed costs. I'm talking about the story of the surfwear brand Quiksilver. See, during their boom years, Quiksilver expanded like crazy. They opened hundreds and hundreds of retail stores. And what did that do? It locked them into massive fixed costs. We're talking long-term leases, huge debt payments, tons of salaries. So when the fashion trends shifted and their sales started to fall, those costs didn't budge. They stayed just as high. The company was literally crushed by a rigid cost structure that it just couldn't escape from. But what if you could flip the script? What if you could transform those super risky fixed costs into flexible, variable ones? Well, that is the strategic genius behind a service like Zipcar. Think about it. Instead of a business buying a company car, which is a huge fixed cost just sitting there, they can use Zipcar. And boom, just like that, their transportation expense becomes a variable cost. They only pay for what they use, when they use it. If business slows down, they're not stuck with a car payment or insurance bills. They've built flexibility and resilience right into their business model. Okay, so we get the costs now. Let's put that knowledge to work with a really powerful but surprisingly simple tool from the manager's playbook. So imagine you're the manager. You get a call for a huge, one-time special order. Awesome. But here's the catch. The price they're offering is actually below your total cost per unit. The one on the official scorecard. Every traditional instinct in your body is screaming, "No way, that's a losing deal." But is it really? To answer this, we need to basically ignore the total cost from that official scorecard and focus on one key number, the contribution margin. And the calculation is super simple. You just take the sales price and you subtract only the variable costs to produce that one specific item. So, for example, if a widget sells for $10 and its variable costs, the metal, the plastic, the power to make it, add up to $6, your contribution margin is $4. Now, that $4 is the number that matters. That's how much cash from each and every sale is left over to help chip away at your big pile of fixed costs, like your rent and salaries. And here's the magic. Once those fixed costs are all paid off for the month, every single dollar of contribution margin from every sale after that drops straight to your bottom line as pure profit. So for that special order, the managerial playbook is this. First, what's the contribution margin? Is the price they're offering more than my variable cost to make it? Second, and this is important, do I have the extra factory capacity to fill this order without bumping a full-price customer? If the answer to both of those questions is yes, you take the deal every single time. Even if it's just $1 of positive contribution margin, that's one more dollar you didn't have before to help cover those fixed costs. So when you put this all together, understanding these concepts, it fundamentally changes your perspective. You're not just looking at the final score anymore. You're in the cockpit, looking at the live flight instruments, making decisions in real time. Honestly, here is the best way to remember the difference. Financial accounting is your rearview mirror. It's absolutely critical for showing you where you've been. But management accounting, that's your GPS. It uses real-time data to help you navigate the road ahead and choose the absolute best route to get where you want to go. And the key to using that GPS effectively is to focus only on what's relevant for the future. That means you have to learn to ignore sunk costs. That's money you've already spent that you can't get back. Whether it was a good or bad decision in the past doesn't matter. That money is gone. It is totally irrelevant to the choice you have to make today. And that brings us to one final thought to take with you. This isn't just about business. We all have sunk costs in our projects, in our careers, even in our lives. So ask yourself this. What sunk cost, what past investment of time or money or effort is holding you back from making the best possible decision for your future?